because I realized that what was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil.
You thought the game was over, but it's only just begun.
Yo, this is the Late Night Massacre. No one is safe, and I have just seen Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. This is a spoiler review. I'll go through as much of the movie as I possibly can. It's like I really don't want to spoil it, but honestly, I'm going to spoil it. So if you don't want spoilers, do not watch any of this video at all, and just to save yourself. Now, if everybody thought that this movie was going to have some big plot story and it was going to be that good because there's a story-driven movie, whatever, it's not the case. I mean, the only thing you really find out in the beginning of this film, they show a little cartoon of, like, pretty much what happened when Christopher Robin leaves Winnie the Pooh and Piglet and everybody to go to college. Doesn't come back till 5 years later with a wife or someone that he's going to marry. And, you know, Pooh and Piglet and everybody else, they eat Eeyore. They starve to death, and they grow a huge angry tension towards Christopher Robin for what he did and how he left them stranded. So really, if I can get through this film, it really starts out with this these few teenagers, women that go to this cabin. I don't even, because they were talking in English. They were British. I couldn't understand some things that they said throughout the film. Sometimes either when music was playing or something was going on. I didn't know whose cabin that was in the woods. No idea whose cabin that was. But they all, four of them, stayed in there to have a good time and put their cell phones away and kind of just have a good time with each other. One of the friends ended up driving to a whole different location, and yeah, ran into, I guess, where Pooh and Piglet live, and they chased this girl across into this, like, garage thing, and then, she hides for so long, and then, I think what was really, really cool about it is, like, Pooh actually, like, chases her, and it's, like, pretty scary, you know what I mean? Like, it's funny, some of it was funny, because, like, you're just not used to seeing that, because of the movie that it is, but they put her in a meat, Pooh puts her in a meat grinder, and grinds her all up, so that was pretty cool, but when Christopher Robin gets, to where, he used to hang out with Pooh and Piglet and everybody, with his wife, and they hide in the house because they sense something's wrong. They find some honey that was mixed up with blood, and they knew something was going on. They only hid for so long till his wife was, we didn't see the kill from his wife, but slammed her head, or I forgot what he did to her. All the bones, there was just all bones. Her whole body was there. But they decided to torture, him and Pooh and Piglet tried to torture Christopher Robin for a while, and throughout the movie he was alive throughout the whole entire movie. He did live in this film, and then really after that it was just about these women, that are being antagonized by Pooh and Piglet. I thought Piglet looked pretty cool. I thought some of these kills were pretty damn cool, I gotta say. And I didn't think they would actually show a lot, but this was a pretty gory film, I gotta say. No story-driven after really the beginning, and that's really it. And then it's just, how many people are going to get killed in this film, and that was really the only question. And all of the girls ended up getting killed, except Christopher Robin. Everyone got killed. Even Piglet died in this movie as well, which, we have the next film coming out, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2, which they're going to put more characters in there as well, which should be a lot of fun. But to get back to the original movie here, favorite kills as of right now. I thought Piglet killing the girl in, like, the water, the little pool inside the house was pretty cool with the hammer, just hit her right in the face, and you saw a big clob of meat come off her face, which was awesome. After Piglet was killed by one of the women that tied him up with a sledge and hit him with the sledgehammer, Pooh found out. Pooh heard Piglet scream, and he went over and killed the girl that killed Piglet. She got lifted up by his hand, and Yeah, and he stuck a machete right in her mouth, and it went right through her, through the wall. And I thought, and it was a slow stab that was going straight into her mouth, which was pretty cool. I thought that kill was pretty cool. One of the girls that was in the girl that was in the hot tub scene that we saw from the trailer, she ends up getting chloroform. She wakes up tied up, reverse, stomach on the ground, and Piglet is holding her down with the sledgehammer while Pooh is in the car waiting to run her head off with one of the tires to the car, which I thought was pretty cool. Didn't think we were actually going to see that, but when you see the tire go on top of her head, and it's just like they literally get on top of her head with the tire and they just leave it there, and her skull is just slowly getting crushed with blood coming out of her head. I thought that was a really cool kill. And then another kill I thought it was pretty cool too. There was a couple more parts. I think one where there's only 2 girls alive. They run into the road. They see some lights. There's a car coming down the road, and it's actually a guy that you met earlier at a gas station, and he has like his squad with him. So the girl gets in the car. She's like, "We have to get to safety." Then Pooh just shows up, and Piglet's already dead. Pooh shows up middle of the road, and he's just standing there. And these 4 guys want to kick his ass. They grab like all these weapons, and they threaten him like a million times. And Pooh just stands there and takes like a million hits from these guys. A million hits in the legs, the arms, the head, everywhere. And Pooh is just not going down. And then Pooh just slowly takes his hands and he's whacking all these guys really fast. These big, heavy mitten slaps and like taking chunks of skin off their face. And man, I thought it was so good. I honestly thought it was awesome. I know one of the girls actually rescued another girl that was already there. I think that was already there, and her face was all meated up, and she was a total disaster. And Piglet ended up eating the rest of her face off, which is kind of crazy. Didn't really see it, just saw Piglet on top of her face, like eating her skin and eating her face, which was kind of nuts. Like I said, there was no story based throughout this whole thing. Really, just the beginning of the whole thing. There was a scene when Pooh they kept Christopher Robin alive. They kept him alive. The one scene where he had Christopher Robin's tied up in like one of the sheds, and Pooh was just kind of, and Christopher Robin was like apologizing throughout the whole movie. "I'm sorry I left you. I shouldn't have left you. It was the wrong thing to do. I had no choice, blah, blah, blah. If I knew this was going to happen, I wouldn't have left." And Pooh actually starts crying. He starts like, I guess, oozing out the mouth. I don't know, just getting upset, and then he just starts crying, and Pooh is just holding his head, and like he's so tormented, and so like he knows he's probably doing the wrong thing, but he's so angry and can't let go of what Christopher Robin did to them when he left. And while Christopher Robin is tied up, he grabs Eeyore's. Now Eeyore's tail was sitting next to all these weapons. He grabs the tail. Pooh starts hitting Christopher Robin in the back with it and starts scratching up his whole entire back, and it looked pretty good. I mean, Christopher Robin, the actor, wasn't too bad. The acting wasn't great. From all the women, I couldn't stand it. I wanted all of them to die, okay? You're going to want all these women to die because they make the dumbest decisions while they're in that house, and literally they're sitting there in one room for 15 minutes like, "Oh, we should get a weapon. Oh, we should escape. Oh, we should call the police." Like, it was just so predictable. It was just really predictable at one point with some of these scenes. Like, the acting was horrific. But I think the highlight to this film is the kills, number 1. Number 2, Christopher Robin's really, the story wasn't too bad at all. I liked that beginning story. And number 3, Pooh and Piglet were awesome. I liked it. Yes, it's 2 guys in mass. I understand that. But for what it is, I can't complain. The ending was not really great because it kind of, I don't know if they meant to hit it for a cliffhanger or whatnot. So the main chick is still alive, and she's driving, and she pretty much tries to escape. Okay, with this other girl, she tries to escape. That's after all the guys get beaten down by Pooh, and that's it. So they're driving the car. They end up running over Pooh with the car. Pooh hangs onto the car. He gets on top of the roof. She breaks the car with her friend, and then they crash, I guess. for what I've looked, they crashed, or they crashed into, I don't know what happened, because I guess they break the car. They hit the brakes so fast that they hit their heads and they were all bleeding. Pooh literally takes her friend out of the car, slits her throat. And then Christopher Robin. So the girls ended up rescuing Christopher Robin earlier in the film. And then when they're driving the car, they break it, and then Pooh ends up getting off the car. And then it goes black screen. The two girls wake up, and they're all messed up and bleeding all over the place. Pooh kills her friend, and then the main chick is the only survivor. Christopher Robin comes out of nowhere with a pickup truck and hits Pooh into the other car, and he's stuck in the middle between two cars, and it looks like he's dead. Then it was only a few minutes later, gas starts pouring out of the car a little bit. Pooh gets loose. He wakes up. He gets out of, he pushes the car behind him away. And then the cars explode right behind him while he's just standing there in badassery, which I really did like. And then the next scene, which I thought it was kind of emotional, because I wouldn't think I would get an emotional feeling from this film because of what Christopher Robin did to Pooh and Piglet, and it was kind of crazy. We heard Pooh speak for the first time. So when Christopher Robin is helping the girl, she could barely walk. They're running. They're helping each other. They're walking very slowly, and they couldn't go any further. The girl couldn't go any further. So Pooh takes the girl. Never mind, doesn't even kill Christopher Robin at all. He puts a knife to her throat. And Christopher Robin is literally begging Pooh to not do this and ask him, why is he doing this? And we could still be friends, and we could work this out. We could try to fix this, really begging Pooh not to kill this girl. And then Pooh actually talks for the first time in 5 years. In a really deep voice, he says, "You left." You left. It was like, I was like, oh. I was like, man, I felt that. I got emotional for a quick second, because I was like, man, it kind of hit me a little bit, because I don't know, I guess because I was so into that story in the beginning, and then we kind of disappeared from that while, these maniacs and Piglet and Pooh were just killing everybody. And then hearing him talk for 2 words and saying, "You left," and then slits the girl's throat. The girl falls into Christopher Robin's hands, and he's crying, and he's hugging her, and he can't believe Pooh just did that. And then Christopher Robin starts running. He starts running, and then Pooh is literally taking the knife to the girl on the ground, and he's stabbing her head 30 times. 30 times, stabbed her in the head, it was constant with this crazy music. And then Pooh starts walking out of the picture when Christopher Robin starts running again, and then it cuts, and I was like, man, I was a little too close for a cut. So really, other than that, that's pretty much it, guys. The acting was horrible. There's really no driven story to this besides the beginning, where they kind of show you a cartoon of what happened. Pooh starts having flashbacks of Christopher Robin promising him that he would never leave him when he was a kid. It's kind of nuts. And then that ending really hit me a little bit. And then it kind of went to black screen with credits, and I was just like, man, that's kind of quick. I didn't really like that ending too much, but it wasn't too bad. So I couldn't really say much. They want to leave it on a cliffhanger. They don't want to tell you what's going to happen next. So we all know there's a Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2, and there's going to be more characters in the mix. Tigger's going to be available off the domain of usage next year, so it should be pretty cool. Owl should be in the film. I mean, there's going to be more guys, more of these people in the film, which is going to be great, but the acting was horrible. I mean, Christopher Robin probably had the better of acting than anybody else, and it still wasn't fantastic, but I'm not here to see this movie because of Christopher Robin. I'm here to see this movie because of Pooh and Piglet on a rampage, and I think we got that. So it only has 20% Rotten Tomatoes right now. It's not great, and it's not going to be great to the public. But if you're just there to have a good time, because me and my buddy were laughing during the film. We actually were laughing at so many parts, And there was really nobody at this theater. There was like maybe 12 people there, and like it was a pretty empty crowd. And I gotta say, like if you're just there to have fun, have some, because we laughed at a lot of parts that were really funny. So just to have a good time, I wasn't trying to take this movie so seriously and then nitpick at everything so seriously. This movie was pretty good. I thought it was pretty good, to be honest. Just to watch something, have a good time, have fun, get some popcorn, sit down, and just go through the motions, man. Like, that's what this movie was really about. And that's it. Like I said, I kind of discussed most of the kills, pretty much. The pool kill, the cleaver kill, the car kill, the tire over the head kill. I mean, there were some good kills. The meat grinder kill, there were some good ones. There was actually, yeah, I mean, this director actually talked about how, what really made him make this film was his own idea, but at the same time, a lot came from Terrifier and Terrifier 2, that he really applauded them for really taking extreme measures and going over that line when many directors won't. And I think they did. Is this as bad as Terrifier 2? Definitely not. There's nothing even compared to that at all. But I think it was pretty gory for a first movie that they started with these characters. I thought it was pretty good. And I think they can even go better next film. Okay, so obviously I made a mistake because I thought this movie was like $13 million budget. I don't know why I did. But I think it was only like $100,000 or I think it was like $100,000. I think that was it. But what they did with it, they did pretty good. Obviously, like, you can't make Pooh look just like Pooh. You can't make Piglet look just like Piglet. You can't. You can use those characters, but you have to create them differently. So I like Pooh's mask. I thought it looked pretty good for the money that was used for it. I thought it was fine when they were eating the blood and the honey, and I thought that was awesome. I thought there were some really, really good scenes in this film. The acting was horrible. We know that, but there's films where you get to know characters and you start to like them and you want them to survive, and then there's characters where you're just looking at certain scenes like, oh my god, they're all gonna die. It's gonna happen, and they deserve to die, and they do. So you're gonna be happy at the end of the day, but you might not like the ending because of a cliffhanger and then it cuts off. But I liked when Pooh was talking. Piglet ended up dying, obviously, and that was like, I was kind of shocked that he died. But there's a lot more characters. But Pooh is like the main focus. Obviously, it's Winnie the Pooh. He's the main focus. He's immortal. He can't be killed. They hit him with a car. 4 guys were beating the crap out of him, and he still killed all of them. It's kind of crazy, but like I said, I thought it was pretty good for what it was. I wasn't expecting this to be spectacular. I didn't go in there saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe that it's horrible." It's not a great film, but it's not a bad film, and I think it's a great idea. And they're not just coming out with they're coming out with a Peter Pan. They're coming out with a Bambi. I mean, they're coming out. Those are the 2 that they're already coming out with, and that's already by these guys. It's already happening. So they're already making Bambi and Peter Pan. So there's a lot more movies coming out, and another Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey movie. So it should be a lot of fun. And like I said, you go into the theater, or it's not going to be in theaters anymore, probably not. They're probably not going to allow this on theaters again, because, I mean, look, I went to Terrifier 2 the first night, and the whole place was packed. I saw it twice, and it was packed both times. This movie, a lot of people just didn't want to see it, and I can understand why, but it ruined my childhood, and I'm totally fine with that. So that's all I really got to say about this film, Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey. It was a fun ride. It was a fun ride to go through this, to see this for the first time and say, man, they really try to hit a home run here. And, there was a few scenes, the girls are stupid. They say stupid crap. Sometimes the music in this film was like too much, to where it's like they try to make it so dramatic and it's like a joke. It's laughable. But that's what makes it so great, because they're not going to survive at the end. So that's all I got to say about Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey. I had a really good time. Me and my buddy Derek saw it, and we might have a little podcast about it. We might talk about it. It should be cool. So let me know what you guys thought about Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey. Like I said, I thought it was fun. I would definitely watch it again, which probably will do that, and definitely enjoyed it a lot. So you guys definitely check it out. I know this is a long review, but this is how I'm going to do my reviews, because I'm not trying to cut the video up, and it was really good. Fantastic. So, other than that, guys, you guys have a fantastic day. Keep running. That was Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey. That was my spoiler review. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you guys on the next one.